Hello everyone and welcome back to Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the Eagle Rare 10-year Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Let's go. Hello everyone and welcome back. So the Eagle Rare 10-year uses Buffalo Trace's #1 mash bill, which is thought to be the low rye mash bill. The bottles also used to come with a 10-year age statement that was wrapped around the neck, but one of the biggest changes was the single barrel statement that was removed off of the front of the bottle due to the increase in production. So guys, I'm really excited to get into this Eagle Rare here, so let's go ahead and get a pour. Get a little air in here really quick. All right, go into the nose, guys. Yeah, so right away, one of the things that I get is I get some orange peels on here. Definitely a nice little citrus note on the nose. Some cinnamon. Maybe a little bit of honey that's present. A nice vanilla cream, like a vanilla cream, like frosting that sits on top of a cake. Yeah, that sweetness just sits all over the glass. Not really getting that much oak on the nose. For being a 10-year, you figured that you would probably get a little bit of oak on the nose, but I'm not really catching any here. All right, guys, let's go into the palate. Cheers. Yeah, so this has a lot of sweetness in it. So one of the things that I get just off of the first initial sip, I'm not getting a lot of there's not a lot of proof in here. It only comes in at 90 proof. So not a lot of spice on the front of the tongue. There's a nice oakiness that goes from the mid to the back palate. Some brown sugars kind of develop there towards the front of the palate. Maybe some of that sweetness that I'm getting. There's also some fruity sweetness in there as well. Let's go for a second sip. Yeah, so the brown sugars develop on the front of the tongue. Nice, like candy sweetness, kind of covers the mid palate. There's a nice cherry note in there as well. I think that's where some of that fruitiness is coming from, like a maraschino cherry. That's really what's covering, that sweetness across the middle of the palate and going into the finish, mixing with that oakiness. It offers just a really nice balance of some sweetness, some oak there, maybe a little bit of leather, maybe some dry leather there on the back end. Yep. Yeah, so again, not a lot of spice, not getting a lot of spices. There may be a hint of cinnamon here and some of that spice, and that could be some of the spices maybe from the oak that I'm getting on the palate. But brown sugars on the front, candy sweetness across the middle of the palate, maraschino cherry, maybe a hint of citrus, some oakiness that kind of follows through towards the back of the palate into the finish, as well as some hints of dry leather. But an interesting note that I pick up out of the Eagle Rare is, and it's not often, it's every now and again, I get a burnt marshmallow taste, and that could be that mix between the brown sugared and the caramels mixed with the candy sweetness that covers the mid palate. Yeah, overall, an incredible balance for this bourbon here. It gives you a little depth of flavor that really covers the front to the back of the palate. with a finish that actually lingers on a little bit. Again, brown sugars, you get some candy sweetness across the middle of the palate, maraschino cherry, you get some of that oak towards the finish, a little bit of leather, and every now and again you get that, you may pick up like a burnt marshmallow taste towards the finish, maybe a mixture of some of the brown sugars and the caramel and a little bit of that oak. But so for a 10-year allocated bourbon, it is difficult to find this bottle in certain areas and certain markets. There's sometimes you can't find the bottle at all. So for me, I would give this a B. I consider this to be a solid daily drinker. I have had bottles of Eagle Rare that have differed from this one, not too much, until you start getting into those Eagle Rare store picks, is where you'll really start to find and pick up some of those different flavors and some of those different notes. But overall, I personally wouldn't spend any more than $70 on this bottle if you can find it. I don't think it's worth any more than that. It is a solid $50 to $60 bottle if you can find it in your market. Again, to me, it's a B. It's a daily drinker of mine. Something that, if I can find out on the shelves, I will definitely buy another one. But again, if you can get your hands on the single barrel offerings or the store pick offerings that you can find at some of your different stores or even online in the secondary market, I would definitely recommend this bottle to anywhere from a beginner to someone who has had experience with drinking bourbon for a long time. I think it really suits every person's palate, in my opinion. So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. So if you're looking for reviews of Bourbon's Rise and some of those Dusties, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You can also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And until next time, guys, stay dusty.